So with that, we now move on to the next part of our workshop. We have a Introduction to CFD and OpenFOAM lecture by Professor Janani Sri Muralidharan. Professor Janani is an assistant professor at the Mechanical Engineering Department at IIT Bombay. And she specializes in the areas of computational fluid dynamics, multi-phase flow and heat transfer. She has a multi-phase flow heat transfer lab at IIT Bombay. And her current interests include biofluid dynamics, boiling, bubble contact line. With that very short introduction, I invite Professor Janani to please take over and welcome the participants and also give her talk. Professor Janani is also the PI, along with Professor Kannan, she's also the PI for the OpenFOAM FOSSEE initiative, and she leads this effort. Professor Janani, are you online?
Yeah, I am. Hi.
Yes, hi. Good morning. Please.
Thanks, Shweta, for the introduction. So, welcome everyone to this workshop on OpenFOAM. I'm very happy to see that over 130 people have joined. And over the next 3 days, I hope for all of you to become familiar with OpenFOAM, comfortable with OpenFOAM, and become OpenFOAM users. So with that goal in mind, I would like to kind of talk about how you should approach CFD and OpenFOAM. What are the positive points? What are the things to pay attention to during these 3 days of the workshop? So that's the main goal for my brief talk here, to help highlight some of the important points that you'll have to keep in mind. I hope all of you have a background, maybe an orientation with CFD. Wherever possible, we will try to support with regards to that as and when you're doing those tutorials, right? So with that, let me just share my screen. Once again, welcome to this OpenFOAM workshop, and I'm Professor Janani. I am associated with the Mechanical Department at IIT Bombay. We are going to offer you this OpenFOAM workshop. Of course, the standard disclaimer is below, wherein this is not endorsed by OpenFOAM CFD people. We do use the code to train a lot of people, and this is an initiative of FOSSEE per se. Okay, so all of you would, and I'm sure, be familiar with any form of CFD software, may it be any commercial code, or might have been OpenFOAM users as well. So OpenFOAM is a CFD tool. So what is CFD? Computational fluid dynamics. So it's basically talking about fluid flow over any body or through a pipe, typically used for trying to solve any kind of industrial problems, research problems that needs to be solved. Okay, so you have wide range of applications like flow through the pipe, some kind of a tank problem, wind turbine, aerospace related problems, so on and so forth. So what is CFD? I can show you pretty pictures here, but what is the internal details of CFD is something we need to understand, appreciate, and learn. Okay, so CFD is concerned with certain important steps which need to be kept in mind. So there are applications in the world outside. For example, somebody asked about multi-phase applications. So we can talk about, in a reactor, in a nuclear reactor, you have, water changing phase, carrying away heat. So that's a multi-phase flow application, which you end up wanting to try and model it in a computer. That's what CFD is all about. So the first step is to be able to look at that physical domain that you see and convert it into a computational domain. So that's the first step of CFD, wherein all of us know pretty much that you have to mesh the domain. right? So this is a common term. So the important thing and the first step that you will be learning in this workshop is this. How are you going to mesh the domain of your interest? So you might ask me, why is this step of meshing required, right? So the physical domain is a continuous domain with, the fluids being continuum media, right? But when you're trying to solve it in a computer, then you are trying to write some discrete equations to solve that domain. So then there is a necessity to be able to, the need to divide the domain into smaller boxes so that you can write equations to be able to solve. So that's why you do the meshing. That's the first step. Second step is called discretization, meaning you write equations connecting those domains. How does my physics or the flow happen between 2 points? Okay, so that's your domain discretization. So then what are the two discretizations? One is the space discretization, which is called meshing. And the other is writing equations between those 2 points, trying to write the physics in a mathematical form. So that's called discretization of the equations, okay? Then you solve it using some kind of matrix solver, okay? So that's where you choose your solver. How do you want to solve those equations? And finally, most importantly, trying to print out the correct data. So a lot of people show colorful pictures in CFD, but then what is it that they take away? What are your as engineers, as faculty, as researchers, what are the solutions you're providing that physics is telling you? So that's very important that you understand what is the cause, what is the effect, what can I change to improve whatever output that you want, right? So plotting, post-processing becomes an important tool to understand the physics that's being given out by the solver. So CFD basically has 4 steps. Divide the domain, divide the equations, solve it, and then look at the results. Very simplistically put. So now we're going to look at how OpenFOAM deals with all of this. And what is the additional control that OpenFOAM gives you, which makes it a favorable tool and a necessary tool for you to learn. Okay. All right. First and foremost, most of your commercial code softwares are a black box with all these 4 stages available only as a click of a button. So you don't know what's going on at the back end, and hence you don't have much control. OpenFOAM, on the other hand, is an open source code, meaning you have access to the background code. Also, it's free, most importantly. You don't have expensive license. You download it, install it now, and you want to be users of OpenFOAM. All right. So that's the first thing, ease of accessibility, monetary benefits. But as researchers, we want to be able to work with some module the way we would like, the way we need, right? So many people have apprehensions that OpenFOAM requires you to code extensively. Not true. There are a large list of existing solvers which you can use as is. If you have an immediate application to apply it to, you do have existing solvers. So you can still use it as a black box using those solvers. But like I said, if you need flexibility with using different modules, you want to code something different, like, bio applications. For example, you want to see blood flow modeling. You will need to tweak the code. OpenFOAM allows you to do that very easily because it's just a block of, C++ libraries. And to an existing solver, you can add an additional equation very quickly, very easily. I'll show you how. So essentially, it gives you a layered modular approach. You can write a full solver on your own. You can use only the existing solver, or you can modify the existing solver to the way you want. And it's all free, of course. So that's where, OpenFOAM is being adopted by industry as well, because they're realizing that the code has. Okay, so these are the important points. So how does OpenFOAM look inside? I told you there are some standard existing solvers. So the existing solvers, interestingly, have the name representing their function, ending with the word form. I've just listed a very few of these solvers. This workshop for the next 3 days, you will be using existing solvers to solve some standard problems. So some of the solvers you'll be looking at is icofoam. So what is icofoam? So basically we will be dealing with icofoam, simple foam, piezofoam over the next few days. I did hear that there's a request, right, Dr. Rabik, about multi-phase flows. We will see how best to accommodate that. Though we didn't plan that here. Let's see if we can give you something to do with multi-phase. So the important thing here is that we'll, over the next 3 days, become familiar with existing solvers. We will also move towards trying to write a very simple solver on our own, okay? The Laplacian solver. So in a way, this workshop will expose you to both the capabilities. One, if you want to write a solver of your own, it'll just get you started along those lines. And once you learn those basics, you're good to go. With some practice, you'll be able to quickly climb the ladder to write solvers of your own. Okay, so existing solvers, there are several, like you can see non-Newtonian foam, which we use for blood flow modeling. We have porous simple foam, so on and so forth. So in addition to these solvers, we will be looking quite deeply into where these file structures, how do they appear in OpenFOAM? Where do I access and have control? See, a very important point in OpenFOAM is that you have background control. It's not just a black box. So we will, during these tutorials, you'll be working through these folders, getting understanding of the background of how to establish control over the solver. You can see to the extent that you can have control over it. So that is something that the workshop will enable you to do. Not just existing solvers, not just writing solvers, but also controlling them is something that we will be looking at. So the file structure, we'll be talking to you, Ashley or Divyesh will be orienting you with the file structure, the Linux commands, so on and so forth. So that is something that's scheduled for today as well. And the important things for you to understand during these sessions is what extent of control is there? How much can I manipulate? And you will understand the amount of flexibility that OpenFOAM comes with. The third part, which I'd like to take over, which I'd like you to understand in OpenFOAM. Typically, when you're writing codes in C, C++, your own CFD code, the problem with writing your own code is the ramp-up time, because you end up having to write 1,000 lines maybe for just 2 equations solution. In OpenFOAM, it's very, very flexible. So what OpenFOAM does is, using these C libraries, it allows you to pre-access existing mathematical techniques. Like I mentioned, your C libraries have these kind of pre-written modules. What do I mean by this? For example, you can take this equation set. It's a very famous set of equations, which is a bread and butter for you, the Navier-Stokes equation. Now, if you look at what the Navier-Stokes equation does, it captures the physics of the flow in mathematical form. Now, if you look further into this mathematical equation, you will notice a pattern, right? So most of these equations are using key mathematical terms. For example, your gradient of P, your Laplacian, your divergence, your time derivative or space derivative. typically these are the 4 repeating mathematical terms that exist. Okay, so on the last day, I'll briefly talk about what these represent when you're trying to start to code. But the good thing is, OpenFOAM has pre-built modules. Otherwise, you're going to end up writing 500 lines of code for just Laplacian or divergence. You don't have to do that. So what OpenFOAM allows you to do is these 4 categories of repeatable terms that you see in fluid flow equations. OpenFOAM very simply, like for example, the time derivative, all you need to say is d dt of A. Okay. Say for example, the Laplacian term I was talking about, it allows you to do Laplacian of A. It just understands if you just say Laplacian of A. So you can, in the next slide, see how very easily this complex equation just compressed itself into these 5 lines. This is nothing but the turbulent kinetic energy equation. I picked it specifically because it's different from the Navier-Stokes. But you can see that the mathematical commonality is still there. So you have a time derivative, you have a divergence, so you can say d dt of k, that's so intuitive. Divergence of phi k, I'll tell you on Friday what that means, but that's just the divergence term, okay? Now this is the Laplacian, because you have the Laplacian term over here of nu plus nu t and k, okay? So you have the source term on the other side. So it's so intuitive, and within 5 lines, you can very quickly capture an equation and make it ready for solving. So this goes back to that capability I was talking to about OpenFOAM, wherein you can actually add equations that you want to solve. You want an additional different turbulence kinetic energy equation, you can just remove the existing one and add this one, right? So as researchers, as faculty, as students, this actually opens up a wide range of capability for you to be able to play around with your complex problem statements. So this capability is not available in other software, okay? So ease of writing background equations, additional solvers is present. So how does the inner solver look? Okay, for example, I've just given you the EU equation, meaning the momentum equation, right? So the runtime loop starts, that is your time step starts. You set the Courant number, okay? This is how the background code looks, right? And then you have the U momentum equation written up, d by dt, divergence of U and Laplacian of U, right? And then you just solve it. And then you write out the execution time. We will be on Friday going through this in the first half again, okay? So the idea I want to put forth here is that this is not cryptic language, but very user-friendly language, which your students can easily pick up and write, okay? And we have worked with a lot of students across the country to solve complex problems. Like, for example, last summer during COVID time, we actually had people interning with us on an online mode. Some of them performed, shockwave studies on multiple wedges, and we were able to show close matching with experiments. Sitting at home, they were able to do this. What you see here is a spray. We were trying disinfectant sprays for COVID, and we had an intern student, Mona Lisa, who actually did this for us. We did this together. So these are interesting, publicly relevant studies that can be done from home by students who have just started to learn OpenFOAM. So you can understand the power, the flexibility that it offers you, okay, with zero cost, by the way. So during this workshop, I would like you to, for every tutorial, imbibe the following, pay attention to the following. What are they? Number one, how is your complex problem downsized into the 4 stages of CFD. What are the 4 stages? How is the domain meshed? How are the equations solved? What are the controls you're controlling for the solver? Okay. And finally, and most importantly, how do you look at and interpret data so that it's not just a colorful plot, but you can and should be able to extract meaningful understanding from it. And that is what we will go back to after every tutorial that you do. So it's not just going to be a numerical exercise. It is going to be an exercise where, whether we are there asking you these questions or not, you should be asking these questions of what is the physical relevance? How do you go about controlling it? Okay. And I want you to understand from the perspective of how OpenFOAM allows you to pick these capabilities, these 4 capabilities. Okay. So with that, I would like to say that OpenFOAM is open source. It allows you a lot of controllability, but that comes with accountability. If you have a lot of control, then you need to answer as to why we have been selecting these things. So you need to understand it, modify it, and implement it in the problem that you want. So it's also a very, very effective education tool. So we have a CFD course that I'm currently offering this semester with OpenFOAM. And students are, so much of interest from them to be able to solve problems of their interest with less monetary problems, less accessibility problems. Okay. And it is the need of the hour, mainly because I've seen a lot of industries showing interest using OpenFOAM. They've started using it and they're looking for engineers, which is why your students, you can also have projects from industry because of all the Atmanirbhar. Professor Kannan Mudgadir was also mentioning that. So please use this, help us with it, because at the end of the day, we want you to join the FOSSEE initiative to be able to contribute. One thing I've noticed in OpenFOAM, there is a need to be able to have a critical mass of people who know OpenFOAM very well. The importance of forums become very important, which is why we ask you to post on those forums. So please use the workshop to learn OpenFOAM, but also more importantly, join us in the initiative and become contributors as well, so that you can also train people and everybody benefits because of this community. With that, I would like to conclude and hand over, hoping that for the next 3 days, we will have a wonderful experience learning OpenFOAM. So Shweta, I leave it up to you.
Any of you have any questions for Professor Janani? Please ask or post it in the chat box. Okay, Professor Majumdar would want to know what is the limitation of OpenFOAM, Professor Janani?
Well, the limitation of OpenFOAM are 2 things. Number 1 is ready material to be able to solve some of the more complex problems. Some of the, the forums are not too self-explanatory. So there's some of the, problems cannot be immediately solved. The only way this can be done is we bring together a community which is solving a lot of OpenFOAM problems, different people working on different things. So that is where we are building this community to do it. So that's one thing which is currently picking up. I don't say it's a current negative thing. The community is growing by large amounts. Second thing is I feel that the community or the students, the users are apprehensive. There is an initial fear of coding that somehow remains, and OpenFOAM does not have a user-friendly GUI at the moment. we are trying to address that issue, but I do think that that is not necessarily a negative thing of OpenFOAM, because you would very quickly see that how user friendly, and students, I've seen a lot of students who've been apprehensive about this terminal use rather than a GUI, very quickly pick on and adapt. So those two are not really negative points, but we are also trying to augment and strengthen those two aspects. Number one, by trying to build a GUI, starting that initiative. Secondly, we are also trying to build this community where you have a lot of discussion on OpenFOAM, where you can post things that you have doubts on, and there's already someone out there who's been trying it out. So that's something. Those are the two things I would say.
So there's another related question with that, Professor Janani. Ms. Rashmi wants to know if it is necessary to know C++ coding to use OpenFOAM.
Not really. See, though C++ helps you, we will show you what are the necessary capabilities that you need to get started off to actually be able to do problems, right? There might be some esoteric sidelines which you might have to learn later on for if that's a highly specialized problem. But typically you don't have any issues rather than the very basic things which Ashley and Divyesh will take you through in the afternoon session regarding some of the basic commands that's needed. And on Friday's session, we'll take you through some of the basic solver writing parts which become essential, I think. But that's not too hard to catch up. It's not a full-fledged C++ coding requirement. Yeah.
Professor Janani, can I add something to it? I'm Chandan here. Sorry.
Yeah, Chandan, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to add with Professor Janani, I would say that don't take up OpenFOAM with a view that you have to be an expert of C++. So from my experience, I can suggest that you can jump into the coding of OpenFOAM, and wherever you are stuck, search the background C++ knowledge for that. So that would be really helpful. So if you are stuck at some line of the OpenFOAM code, go back into the C++ book. The very basic book is online, cplus.com. You can search the underlying methodology or principle or syntax, and then it will be more clear to you. Otherwise, it's just a C. So you will keep learning C++ for years. So that's my suggestion.
Thanks, Dr. Chandan. Yeah, that's useful.
So yeah, Ms. Rashmi, I hope that answered your question. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Janani, for the introductory talk on CFD and OpenFOAM. It was delightful as always.